All right, guys, here we are on ESV Ohana, one of my new favorite maps. I love this map, and down at the bottom right part of it, in the blue from the team, it's GoSu. It is DDE, a very good Terran player. He is from Canada, I believe. Let me double check. Yes, he is from Canada.
You're right. Yeah.
And in the upper left, I should know this, shouldn't I? In the teal, playing Protoss from alternate attack, that is, it is Socke, winning 2 games already. We'll see if he can make it 3. Yeah. Now, DDE, a very prolific online player in the last couple of years. He's won many events, beating lots of notable players like Idra. He's always had a little bit of nerves when it comes to live events, so his performance hasn't quite been as good there. But still,
that you're talking about the Complexity Cup. What was the name?
It was a while ago.
The Complexity tournament, though.
I have no idea. I can't remember. It's been a while, but
I remember when he beat Idra, though. It was for a lot of money, and a lot of people. It was at a time when Idra was taking big tournaments, and the internet was kind of in an uproar about it.
Well, I've always been a big fan of his. I mean, I remember one of the very first live NA events I did. He actually took second in that tournament to Kawhi, I believe it was. But I was really, really impressed by the way he played. I kind of got to know him a little bit over the next couple months after that, and he and Vibe were on Six Jacks, and when Six Jacks disbanded, I, kind of said, hey, man, you should come over and check out It's GoSu. It's a really cool team. And so he joined. We're glad to have him, and we'll have to see how he does in this match today.
Very much so, as Socke is certainly showing that he's playing strong right now. He's taken 2 games in a row, has his game face on, ready to tackle something other than a PvP, though. We'll see how he handles his PvP. This is a matchup I've not seen out of Socke in a while. I have watched a lot of his PvP recently for some reason, and have also seen a few PvZs, but it's been a while since I've watched a PvT from him.
Well, I mean, it's a big map, so, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see a much more kind of passive style out of both of these players here. Both of them are going to have plenty of time to get up their natural expansions, get very strong 2-base economies going, and we don't even really see a lot of 2-base timings on Ohana. We see most games just straight up go to 3 bases and then just kind of sit there. So, I know I've mentioned in a previous game how we probably were going to see a late-game TVP, but in this one, I really mean it this time. I think we're probably going to see a late-game Terran versus Protoss. There's just not really a lot of advantage you get from attacking on 2 bases on this map. It's so easy to see coming, so easy to defend by the other player. You just see a lot of players kind of skip it.
And DDE going for kind of cool build, 1 Rex gasless FE, but immediately into double gas. So,
okay, interesting.
Could see, could always use this to go very quick into Medivacs, Cloak Banshee, something like that. But usually you see players adding on at least 1 additional barracks if they're planning on playing just straight up nothing but bio.
Yep, I think we're going to probably see some tech out of DDE. Wouldn't be surprised too much at all by that. He does like his Banshee play. And he has been known to kind of mech from time to time. In fact, he used to mech quite a bit against Protoss player. There was way back when there was a very good game of him. Oh, he's again need to defend against the Zealot. Oh, Micro, your Marines, DDE, why did you let that Marine die? It didn't need to die. Now he's dead. Oh, no.
That is what happens when people die. They are dead.
I know. It's sad to see. But anyway, what I was saying was that way back when dinosaurs roamed the Earth, there was a game between DDE and IGNProLeague on Steps of War, and DDE kind of did this big sort of 2-base tank bunker push into IGNProLeague's base and won the game. And
it took like 2 bunkers because of the walk distance.
Yeah, pretty much. No, I mean, he literally had like a dozen out there. I mean, tons of bunkers, turrets. He just kind of decided to make the map his entire base. And he used to do that quite a bit in TVP, so he does have a little bit wider range of styles. I think we're going to probably see Bio this game, but he's got the capability to do some kind of unique things in some of his matches.
And it looks like he's just going to prioritize super quick upgrades. Just one of that gas is fast. Oh, here we go. He only had 2 on gas on one of those, so he wasn't optimally mining anyway. So there we go. Well, he is going to put up that stim pack first of all and immediately go into a factory. So no engineering bay quite yet. Going to make sure he gets out a good Medivacs. May want to drop a little bit as well. Back on Socke's side of things, though. Nothing out of the ordinary at all. He decides to go robotics facility first before the additional 2 gateways. And, of course, that will give him quite a bit of flexibility. We'll see if he goes into super quick Robo Bay or if he wants to go ahead and drop down a couple of tech structures first.
Yeah, I think the expand that Socke did is pretty much ideal. Yeah, there's a Robo Bay for Socke. I think it's pretty much ideal to go for that very early Robo. If you know you're going to have time to safely expand, I mean, you get that Observer out quickly. You can go kind of see what your opponent's up to. And here's the thing, I mean, maybe we will actually see a 2-base timing out of him. If he can hide those Colossi, kind of like Squirtle like to do in the in IPL 4, he beat a lot of good Terran players that way, so Socke may be kind of taking a page out of that book and kind of doing a bit of a throwback build here.
Certainly could be. I mean, especially because he's only put up a 3rd gas rather than a 4th. Right. So, not. Yep, thank you. There is a RoboBay.
Oh, there it is. Took them a while to notice, didn't it? Jeez.
Yeah, no kidding. We're on top of that. Okay, and then as soon as I say that, he puts down a 4th gas. So, never mind. Could very well double forge right after that. But the later 4th gas tells me maybe he wants to go for a little bit quicker attack indeed. First Colossus is up, and I would not be too surprised to see a couple follow-up gateways here in just a second.
You know, nice scan by DDE. I think he actually saw the robotics bay. No?
Oh,
no, he
just
didn't.
out of his vision. About a hex away.
Barely out of it. All right. But he sees 3 gates and a robo, and he sees the robo going. So he's like, all right, well, maybe it's Colossi. We'll have to see if he responds with a few Vikings or if he just decides to kind of get in there and see a little bit more himself. And yeah, Socke not using that 4th gas quite yet.
There we go, finally. Decides to go for Twilight Council and Forge right afterwards, so going to play that little bit slower variant. Now, back on DDE side of things, we do have a pretty good contingent of bio units already out. Medivacs pushing their way across the map. He is already starting an armory and another engineering bay. I would imagine another engineering bay here very soon.
Yep, and he's just going to make this little poke with 2 Medivacs and some bio and just kind of more or less see if Socke is prepared for that type of thing. Oh, he's actually going to go around and try to go through rocks or not. Ooh, oh man, he might be able to catch this Colossi, but no, he decides to just kind of pull back. He would lose all those units if he did decide to try to snipe the Colossus.
Yes, you would. This factory not going to die very quickly from Tickle Beam, so yes, Socke is going to have to pick up there. And it looks like DDE is going to drop around the side.
Yep, he's going to pull the rest of those units back to defend here, and we'll have to see how prepared Socke is to receive that drop. I think DDE is going to use this to kind of scout to see, and you know, even if he does pick up this drop, he can use his medevac later on if he wants to scout for when the 3rd for Socke goes up too. So, kind of a master plan going on here.
Yeah, Socke very, very supply blocked at the moment though, so had to rush a couple additional pylons. Actually would have given DDE an opening. At least try and get some damage done, but it has the unintended consequence of keeping Socke pinned back a little bit farther at home, so he would have been a little bit more prepared for those drops as well. So we can see, though, DDE going to a 3rd base, just continuing to reinforce on a lot of units, adding on additional barracks as well, so nothing out of the ordinary at all from him.
Yeah, now DDE obviously not in a position where he can really push in. Those are 2 very, very fast Colossi for Socke. He's not prepared to fight that quite yet. So he is just going to kind of pull back a little bit. He couldn't really, okay, go ahead and click on it. Ooh, Medevac's off on their own there.
Cute.
A little bit, but
awesome.
This is a good map for Socke in terms that there's not a lot of space for DDE to do the drop play that he likes doing.
Right.
And keep in mind, DDE did pick this map, so you know he's got some sort of plan. It looks like he's going to fake a drop here. Those are empty Medevacs.
Yes, they are, and Socke is bringing everything back home to deal with this. Unfortunately, he's going to get a Colossus caught out in the middle of the map, and he's going to be able to kite against those Zealots for quite a long period of time. Charge nowhere near finished up, so very good catch from DDE. Of course, these Medevacs are going to be driven away, and I'm sure Socke's like, you rascally devil, you. Only in German.
What he wanted to do is get in there and get that cancel on the 3rd, but he'll be fine taking a couple units in a Colossi, I'm sure. That's not a bad deal either for basically no damage in return. I think he lost a Marine, and that's it.
Yeah, I believe so.
So, yeah, not too bad by DDE. Good little start there. It's not going to give him a huge lead or anything like that, but every little bit you can kind of chip away your opponent at some of these matchups where it does tend to go into late game can make a bit of a difference.
All right, well, let's see now as additional upgrades coming up, and is it really just a single? God, that's so many map pings. We get it. There are Colossi. They're moving units away, and they see the drop.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyway, though, just a single engineering bay, it appears, out of DDE for now. So, interesting choice to just go after one upgrade at a time.
Yeah, we'll have to see kind of how he handles it. Needed some gas to get the flyer upgrades going, I suppose. But, yeah, DDE. Here's the thing, that DDE played a lot of Brood War, too. He was never a pro gamer or anything like that, but he was pretty high up on IC Cup. did pretty well for himself. So his multitasking has always been one of the things he's been very good at. Oh, pinging person just going crazy.
Is this Scott? Is this Scott? Because you need to
I'll
berate
have
him
to
if
talk
it is.
to him.
Yes.
I'll talk to him later.
Oh!
DDE, but he does have another drop going into the main, but there are stalkers there, but not enough.
No, unfortunately not nearly as many as he needs, and the Zealots are going to die before they're able to pop up, and a lot of economy is going to go with this as well. Zocke bringing a lot of things back at the same time. He's trying to re-drop around the outside, and actually a squad of 4 Marauders is going to be able to do a little bit of damage as well. Thinking we were ahead of you that time. And DDE has already cleared up quite a few workers. 17 workers killed in this game so far.
And he might even be able to pick off a couple sentries and stalkers on his way out here as well. Not bad. Oh, he does lose another medevac, but at least there weren't any units in it, so, you know, it could have been worse, I guess. He does have a little bit of a supply lead now, continuing to pressure this third, but at this point, I'm getting a little bit worried maybe that DDE is overextending himself just a little bit here, going in for another drop. There are only sentries there to hit air.
Yeah, and it looks like he's going to have to pick up a couple of those units pretty quickly. Yep, he isn't even able to go through the Immortal, unfortunately. So he was at about a 25 supply advantage at one point there. It's dwindled a bit to 16. He is establishing his third base, of course, and killed a lot of workers. The real benefit in that engagement. Army sizes are about the same, though, for our 2 players. But, of course, Zocke is now working on 2-2 upgrades. DDE just finishing up +2 weapons.
Well, I mean, the one good thing that DDE did there was that he kind of shattered any ability for Zocke to kind of move out on the map and be aggressive. I mean, even though he didn't really do a ton of damage, he at least, I'm sure, did scare Zocke a little bit, where he's like, all right, I need to be really prepared if I do decide to move out. And you can tell this army, not quite as big as it could be, because he does need to leave some stuff at home.
And he's had triple produce workers for quite a while now to prepare for this. You mentioned units back at home. Well, apparently they're just patrolling back and forth, including the High Templar as well. And there is another drop coming in inside of the main. We'll see if Zocke's able to deal with that. Looks like he will be bringing in a few stalkers. And Zocke had a few units around the outside as well. Whoa! Very nice catch with both the medevacs going down.
Oh, man, that didn't go quite as well. So, yeah, DDE, he's in that very tenuous situation where he needs to be careful not to lose too much to this. Otherwise, you're at risk of dying from a counterattack, and it looks like that's what Zocke is kind of mulling over in his head right now. He's like, all right, you've actually lost quite a bit trying to drop me, and I haven't taken that much damage overall. So Zocke's got to be starting to think a little bit here. He's like, all right, I think I might just got to wait and do a counterattack if he keeps being aggressive like this. So
unlucky gateway not being turned into a warp gate. Unfortunately, it's not cool enough. And let's see here now. There are 7 warp gates inside of the main. Over at the natural, 3 of them. Well, as soon as one gets turned into it, so we'll be working off of 10 gates in total. Zocke with those very good upgrades, already working on 3-3. He is effectively 2 upgrades ahead of his opponent. Plus 1 weapons for those Vikings, so they are quite strong. Going through the Colossus very quickly. 1 falls, the second going to go down here in a second. They've already dealt out a lot of their splash damage, though. And unfortunately, there's nothing left to repel the rest of the forces for Zocke. DDE not even making his way back. A good storm to keep those units positioned away.
Yeah, the force fields for Zocke were quite good, trapping a lot of those units, and I think Zocke just has way too much stuff here. His tech is a little bit better, as you mentioned, too. The upgrades are quite good. DDE with no ghosts or anything that can really help him deal with those Templar and Archons, so we'll see. I mean, he's got these reinforcements. He's still fairly close on supply, but Zocke is not in a bad spot at all right now.
No, DD's a little bit better off in building infrastructure, I believe. So if he can delay to the late game and get his upgrades caught up to his opponent, he'll be in a fine spot. But Zocke has the potential to put on some economic pressure very quickly. Just turn that into a warp gate, please. But
it hurts a little bit, doesn't it?
It does. Kind of kills me inside.
Oh, well. Some medevacs. Oh, DDE with the bad rally. It looks like the medevacs were just kind of heading to where they were hoping was an army, but and there was. I mean, they did find an army, but it was not the right one.
No, not at all.
Yeah, it could have gone better. All right, DDE going into desperation mode a little bit here, having to try to just do a lot of damage with drops.
I swear that.
Wow, if that is Scott, I'm gonna be like, Scott.
I would normally blame Frank, but I don't think he was opting these games.
No, I don't know, man. I don't think it's Scott. Scott doesn't generally ping like that. I've observed games with him in the past. But it's like, look, here's a drop. Here's the army. Here's a canceled Nexus.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, he does cancel it. Okay.
Let that get pretty low, but it may have been calculated. Let's see if he can blink up and pick off a couple of these medevacs. One does go down. That's a pretty good catch there for Socke. Another 10 suppliers, so destroyed.
Oh, DDE losing so many medevacs and so many medevacs with units in them. It's just not going very well at all. It looks like there was a little bit of Zealot Warp in damage right there. And DDE right now just kind of looks a little bit scattered, a little bit confused. Just kind of like the person who's pinging the mini-map everywhere.
I can't not talk about him. It's
That's
so
right.
bad. Well, Charge Slots are going to be able to get a few swings in, even against the Stimmed Marauders. They're trying to make their way back. And a couple of bunkers here for DDE, so a pretty good defensive position. Unfortunately, the same can't be said really for his... okay, for his third, it looks like he picked up the wrong orbital command by accident there.
I think that's a possibility. All right, DD is going to at least cause a cancel on this one again here, but we'll have to kind of wait and see what happens. I mean, it's looking kind of rough for DDE. He is making Ghost right now. His upgrades are starting to catch up a little bit, but this is just such a strong army. Look at all those Archons and charge lots. Oh, man.
Yeah, that's quite a bit. There are a few Vikings in the air to help against the single Colossus that's sitting in the back. And Socke actually has a couple full energy High Templar as well, so could utilize Storms to great effect here. Yep. But the Ghosts have enough for EMP. Now they do, finally launching out a couple, hitting the first line of units, and it does take down quite a bit of the energy off those High Templar.
Yep. Still, though, a very threatening army for Socke. DD just down to 2 bases right now, still not able to get anything done with those drops.
Yeah, we'll see if he wants to engage this army. I don't know if he does. And the Colossi are going to last a lot longer this time. They already take out the front line of units there. Socke moving back to get better positioning and allow his Templar to start moving up to the front as well. DD does kill quite a bit of stuff, but he hasn't touched the expensive Colossi or most of the Archons yet.
Nice, catching a couple Templar there. That does help a little bit. Every little bit counts at this point for DDE.
And we'll see if he wants to make his way back out there. He knows he's got to go sometime, though. Not enough
Templar
for a storm. Unfortunately, he just kind of runs up and dies. Doesn't even hit a feedback either. Those, unfortunately, though, those medevacs do not have any energy whatsoever. And these units not receiving the healing benefit, causing DDE to get down about 50 supply now.
Yeah, I mean, he's splitting well. He's doing everything he can, but Socke just has too much stuff right now. And, I mean, if we look at this defense, Socke's got, back at his third, he's got just nothing to worry about from these drops. There's no way DDE is getting in there.
Yeah, we'll see. It looks like the Stalker's going to try and chase that down. Another drop maybe going around the outside here. No, actually, just a couple of medevacs are about to die.
Just kind of hanging out. Yep, they'll be okay. Maybe.
Well, let's see.
Those medevacs are about to die. Whoa, okay. All right, he did lose one. Thought maybe they were going to sneak past, but I guess not. Socke taking his fourth is DDE GG's, and Socke takes